I'm Grace from Good Cookery. Today I'm making cultured butter. In a previous video I showed you how to make crème fraîche, and after you culture it for 24 hours, before making butter you have to refrigerate it for another 24 hours. In the summertime when you're making butter, when you go to churn the cream should be between 50 and 60 degrees. Whereas in the winter time, if you're churning butter, the cream, it does better if it's about 60 or 65 degrees. So my cream is at 65 degrees, and I use a KitchenAid blender, and I whip it somewhere between 4 and 6, and I use the paddle attachment. I haven't successfully made butter using the whisk attachment. For some reason, the paddle works better. So we're going to start churning it, and it should take about 15 minutes. It's been whipping for about 5 minutes, and the consistency is just like whipped cream. We have stiff peaks. It's starting to splatter occasionally, so I put saran wrap around the bowl of my mixer to keep it from making a mess. And we are going to whip it past the whipped cream stage. It's going to start showing flecks of cream. They're going to start binding together, and the buttermilk is going to start coming out. It depends on the temperature of your cream, how fast it takes. Probably it'll take about 5 more minutes of whipping. So we're going to turn it back on. Splashing a lot, you can go ahead and turn it down, especially since once the buttermilk fully comes out, it's going to want to slosh over the side of the bowl. So I have it down at 4 right now, and I'm going to go down to 2 because it's really coming together and splashing. We're almost into a single mass of butter here. Off, and the rest gets done by hand. Alright, so now we're going to use a spatula and work entirely by hand. And our goal right now is to get together all the clumps of butter, because there's a couple good sized clumps. And then I have just a mason jar with a sieve, and I'm going to pour off the buttermilk. And any little bits of butter that come through, put them right back into the bowl. So now we have our mass of butter here. Keep squeezing the butter, squeezing out the buttermilk, and pouring it off as it comes. And once it's pretty much all poured out, I'm going to switch to a wooden spoon because I have already broken a spatula trying to knead it with a spatula. So squeeze it, pour it off, and our next step is going to be to wash the butter with cool water. 60 degrees or less is good enough. So let's go over to the faucet and I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to put a good amount of water in, probably about a cup of water. Again, cool water. If it's the summertime, then I will have refrigerated water that I use. So now I'm just going to start digging into the butter and allowing the water to wash all the buttermilk out of the fat. If you let the buttermilk stay, it'll be a soft butter, and it will also go rancid fairly fast. Then once it's very milky like that, I just pour it down the drain, and I do it again. And I'm going to keep doing this until the water is pretty much clear. this is my final rinsing of the butter. The water is very clear. I'm going to pour it off. And now I have finely ground, unrefined Celtic sea salt I'm going to add. And this is probably, I don't know, a cup and a half or 2 cups of butter, and then probably 2 teaspoons of salt. But you can adjust it to taste. So now I'm going to knead in the salt. And my purpose now is to not only incorporate the salt, but to squeeze out all the extra water. And it's very stiff to work with. So I'm going to work it up on the side of the bowl. Squeeze out the water and then pour it off. I'm going to keep doing that until I'm confident that all the extra water is poured off. And now, once I have all the butter squeezed together, I'm going to wrap it into saran wrap. And I like to freeze the butter so it will last longer. And label and date it, of course. So that is cultured butter using crème fraîche.